What's up, YouTube? What's up, Facebook? What's up, Twitter? What's up, world? Hi, I'm Lee Zellers. And you know where I'm at. Basement Show, After Dark. But I always like to say, we sometimes record it during the daytime. But we down underneath the ground, somewhere beneath the streets of Cincinnati, doing our thing. And today, you see right there, you see that, I got a musical guest. Y'all know who he is. He done all kind of stuff. He done performed everywhere. He done it all, pretty much. My man, Walt Coleman, is in the house. What's up, Walt?
What's up, Lee?
How you doing, man?
I'm good.
All right, man. See, there's some guests that I look, and you've been a guest I've been trying to get on for a while. Back when we was doing the Basement Show and we was doing the whole other thing. Yeah. But you're busy, you're on the road, you're performing. I get that, because that's a good thing.
Yes.
That's a good thing, because some people would like to be out doing something and they don't have stuff to do, but obviously you do.
Stay busy.
Staying busy.
At least I'm trying to stay busy now.
So let me ask you, from Cincinnati, somewhere where?
Cincinnati.
Okay.
Born and raised right here. Been here all my life. And if you let my wife tell it, I ain't going.
The wife said.
Yeah, she said we're not leaving. We're not going anyplace. You know, family's here.
Because some people have issues with Cincinnati. Myself, I like Cincinnati. I mean, it's a city that, I guess if you live somewhere else and came here, just like if I lived here and go somewhere else, I would have to try to adapt. But some people, they kind of get here and they be like, I don't like the vibe here. Or there's people that like born here, they be like, I don't like the vibe here. It's like, you just got to like wherever, you got to become the jungle wherever you are at. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. I left here originally trying to escape Cincinnati.
Okay.
But the end result is I'm back home. It's a great place to bring up a family.
Right.
And I went into the Army years ago trying to, again, escape both me and my wife. But we ended up right back here at home, you know, because she said that this is where her family is. And
right.
In the music business, there's a lot better other places that you can go.
Yeah.
But I did have a family, so I'm here.
Right.
You know what I mean? Family's grown.
So what high school you went to?
I'm a Bulldog, man.
Bulldog.
Woodward. Came out in the bicentennial year, so I'm telling my age, but it's okay.
It's all right. I talk about that all the time. There used to be a time, I said this before, y'all heard me say this. I used to have an issue. I was kind of like, oh no, you know how women are. Women sometimes don't like to tell their age.
That's right, yeah.
But I do it now. I'm 52. Live with it. I do. I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm 52.
That's right.
Still kind of fly.
That's, hey,
you know what
we
I'm saying?
getting it in, man.
You gotta hold it, man. See, some people start aging and y'all ain't keeping it together. Get back in the gym, lay off a lot of the heavy booze, work out a little bit, stay off all of the meat and all that, McDonald's, you'll feel better.
So, exactly. And sweat sometimes.
Sweating is good.
Important.
And y'all see me do that all the time.
That's right.
A lot of y'all people who watch the old Basement Show, y'all should see me down here sweating like crazy. And some of y'all thought it was because of some of the guests we had on. Sometime it was. But, not going to go into that.
That means things are working.
Things are working. There you go.
That's right.
Perspire. Get that poison, those toxins out of your system.
Absolutely.
You have to do that. So let me ask you. So high school, Bulldogs, Hughes High. I think we had some kind of rivalry back then.
We did.
Yeah.
But you know what a whole lot of high schools do.
Right.
Everybody's trying to beat up on everybody.
Right.
In the things that, not the street fighting and stuff, but football, you know, some of us had baseball team. And back in our day, we used to have wood class, metal shop. We had a lot of different other things. I don't think they have those kind of things now. But maybe Withrow still has it.
I think so. We had that, I remember, at Hughes, and then I went to Samuel Ock. Samuel Ock was a little different. Yeah.
Samuel, I remember the name, but I never...
A short story. Samuel Ock loses, I forget what team we lose against, because Samuel Ock was like, they was one of the first schools I knew that had police walk the hallway. It was dangerous.
Yeah.
It was dangerous.
I heard that, yeah.
It was dangerous.
That's right.
I remember I got my first lesson, I almost got thrown out of the bathroom window from the second floor. It would have been a long drop.
Yeah.
But we lost the game, and they tried to turn over, the opposing team tried to turn over the bus. And after that, they was banned from playing any sports with any junior high school teams after that. That's
crazy.
Yeah,
and that was back then.
That was back then. That was back before all of how it is today.
Today
right.
is pretty rough.
Pretty rough.
Yeah.
So I'm always curious about people who get into this medium, this entertainment field that we are all in. What drew you? How did you get into music?
My father was a musician, played tenor sax for a group called the Soul Medics. and I loved it. He used to take me to his rehearsals and stuff like that. And I started originally playing 6-string guitar.
Okay.
And I had a teacher at a place called Howard Early's Music. His name was Herb Rogers. He was a phenomenal guitar player. I just never did learn how to play guitar correctly.
Right. Okay.
I didn't. He used to tell my father that I keep trying to get him to play the chords, but he keeps doing the melodies. And I don't want him to do the melodies.
Right.
I want to play the melodies. I want him to play the chords. I never did learn chords, so I switched to bass when my father got a bass guitar, and he shouldn't have did that, man. Because see, I was trying to take the easy way out.
Right.
And guitar, people know guitar, there's of course 6 strings, but on the last string, it's tuned a little different so that instead of your regular runs, you got to actually go up a half step.
Okay.
So it became confusing to me. So
Okay.
I wanted the easy way out, man. And when I saw 4,
Right.
you know, and of course that's 6.
Right.
But when I saw 4 strings, man, I wanted to cheat.
See,
You know?
all of that was confusing to me because I don't know anything about playing instruments. I just love music. You know, who don't love music? And the bass guitar, to me, the bass is like, I mean, you know, the lead guitar and all that, you know, they get out there, they do their thing, but something about the bass guitar dude is always like the real cool guy, you know, to be over there thumping the bass and all that.
That's it. But you know what? Bass is what you feel.
Okay.
That guitar is color, keyboard's color, drums, bass, that's what you
Right. That's
feel.
the heart.
That's what makes you move.
Right.
And I don't know why, but it just came easy to me. Nothing that I do musically, I still work at it. But I've always felt that it was a God-given talent for me because I kind of, it feels natural.
Right.
And things, if I can hear it, I can play it.
Right.
I've always said that. You know?
That's kind of interesting too, what you're talking about, the bass, how it's something that we feel, because I think about certain like white musicians, rock bands or whatever, who have came out with, if it was a certain beat or certain music that they came out with, if it had a heavy bass line to it, we as black folks, we like jump right to that, because
Right to it. That's right.
We felt that is it the bass rhythm? Is it something about it? Got the drum feel to it, or what is that sort of like draws us culturally almost to that heavy, whatever that that is?
Well, we all know that Africa,
Right.
you know, the drums,
Right.
that was
Right.
the means of communication.
Right.
And it still is.
Right.
Because when you hear and you feel that bass
Right.
drum,
Right.
it just moves
Right.
people. And when you go to school, bass is considered a percussive instrument.
Okay.
So when you go, you can't just like go to play bass.
Right.
You have to go to play percussion.
Right.
And then in turn, you pick up bass. Robin Thicke,
Right. Yeah.
Justin Timberlake, them
Right,
cats, man,
right,
is they
right.
working off of grooves.
Right.
Things that move you.
See, Robin, what he might need to do, he might need to pick up a bass right now because he's trying to get Paula back. Paula's a sister. Might need to get that bass up, get that rhythm going for her. Might help.
That right?
It might help. You never know.
It might.
So your father, when he was playing, what was he playing? R&B,
Saxophone, R&B, dance music.
Okay.
A lot of the old school, the Hold On, I'm Coming.
Okay.
I'm Coming Home, stuff like that. But see, he was a horn player, so he was always with a trumpet player. And back in the day, they had big horn sections, man, made everything. And I just enjoyed, man, I was intrigued by the diversity in my father's group because they had 3 or 4 white guys in the group as well. And that's the reason why I'm the way that I am now, is because, those guys at that time, they knew what was selling, and they were a dance band.
Right.
And they knew that they needed a couple of brothers to pull it off as well.
Right.
They had a guy named Bobby Sparks, which was the lead vocalist, which
Right.
was a brother.
Right.
And they just a hellified band,
See, I'm gonna let y'all in on something. I'm real diverse with my music listening. Only thing I can't listen to is country. I can't do it. I can listen to a lot of stuff with that country. My wife can do it, but I try. I can't do it. But something that I listen to, it, be surprised. I love heavy metal.
Okay.
Godsmack, that's my band right now. Metallica, love them.
Them
Nine
heavy
Inch Nails,
groups.
yeah. Them
guys been around for a long
Godsmack,
time
oh my
too.
God, they kill.
That's
I even
right.
like Merlin Manson.
Once
Man,
again,
the beautiful people, that beat, and he got that in there. I mean, he's an artist that most people be like, oh my God, go to church, get your Bible, whatever.
Yeah.
But if you listen to that beat on that one track he got, one of the songs I think was like off his first album, maybe, I'm not for sure. But he had a song called The Beautiful People, and it's like this bass.
I remember that song.
Yeah, see, that's what got me. I was like, I got past all of the upside down cross stuff on his head.
Right.
I'm like, man, that track was like beating, man. You know, it was like it was banging out.
Once again, you felt it.
Right. So that's what got me into this weird, crazy white dude that was talking about burn your Bibles and all that kind of stuff. But you know, music sometimes surpassed a lot of that stuff. So, you back in the day, I know you played with a very popular musical artist from. Was he from here?
Back in the day, I played with a group called The Exotics. We were picked up by Bootsy Collins at that time. The group that you are probably talking about is Microwave, which is the same family affiliation because Bootsy had produced that album. The first track called Instant Replay, that was me and Microwave, or Michael Lane is his real name. We co-wrote that, and I sang I remember holding you so tight. We making love for the very first time, and then good song. It was a real good song. It made it to the Jet magazine. So
that's so cool, man. So see, hearing that verse, and I remember the song. And then I'm sitting right across from the guy that sang it. You know, that's the beautiful thing about the world today. You know, you never know who you're gonna meet. How cool is that? So what was that life like back? You know, doing that and.
Oh man, you know what? I had a lot of fun. People get it a little twisted. They think that. You know, it's all, you know, glory and all of that
type stuff.
Well, it's hard work. It's hard work, because first of all, you gotta hone the craft. You gotta rehearse, And if you don't, you know, you get in front of a lot of people. I use this scenario. When Michael Jordan, the reason why he was such a good ball player is he got used to people putting their hands in his face, and he still would drop that basket. The most important thing I could say about any musician is you should treat it like if you're watching whoever the lead person is, it should be like a tennis game. When you're watching a tennis game, everybody, if you put the camera on the people, everybody's doing this at the same time, watching the ball. It's no different on stage. You gotta watch the ball because you might miss something. James Brown used to find $20, you know, because you missed something. You have to pay attention.
And I'm always amazed by that when it comes to musicians because, you know, my field is film. And so I know what it is as far as in my game and what it is I do. But when it comes to musicians, I'm always amazed because I remember doing I used to do still photography. And I was working with this guy back in the day and we would be in the studio and they would play this track, man, like over and over and over. And I used to be sitting there like, what is wrong with the song? It sounds fine to me. But y'all ears are like, y'all hear everything, and it's like you hear the lead guitar guy, you hear the drums, you hear the keyboards, and you know if like the tuning or whatever it is somebody ain't playing in this key or whatever, and I'm be sitting there kind of like, I couldn't do this all day.
Yes, you could, because you do it all day now with what you do. Editing, it's the same, because. We might not necessarily know what you're looking for in that lens, but it's the same thing. It's art. It's art, and you looking and listening for a certain thing. I had a track once that sometimes you got to take a break from, but when you go back to it, you cannot duplicate the performance. The performance is everything. And if the performance is hitting, even if you get a lyric wrong, but the performance is right, the only person know that the lyric was wrong is you. You know what I mean? Of course, it's got to make sense. But man, everything in music it's a feeling, and that's what we're striving for.
And you're right. It's the same vibe. It's like for me, it's a frame. One frame. It could be one frame can throw as I look at it, it won't make that scene work.
That's right.
For a musician, it's one note.
One note. Well, Miles used to say there are no wrong notes. But you're talking about jazz. There's wrong notes in everything else. And, you know, you were speaking about country and western. You say you can get into anything.
I can get into a lot of stuff I can't do. I'm sorry. I mean, it's nothing again. It don't work for my ears.
as a musician, it depends on if you come up with your own stuff or not. You got to pretty much be able to do everything.
Right.
You know what I mean? My father used to always say, don't pigeonhole yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because then that particular gig that you
Right.
will really, you know,
Right.
you might need it.
Right.
If you know that style,
Right.
then you can get that gig.
Right. Okay.
You know,
That makes sense. Though.
I can do right now some Frank Sinatra.
Oh, I love Frank.
And anything else, some Smash Mouth. We've done, you know, anything from Destiny's
Smash
Child
Mouth,
to Nelly. I mean, when you're doing wedding bands, club acts, and that kind of thing, you kind of got to play what the people are used to, unless you have a big enough following that you can play your own original material.
Right.
And even then, you can and sometimes do throw in some more popular song.
Right.
You know.
Now, Microwave. How did that come about? How did you get hooked up with him? How did that?
Microwave came in town. Bootsy Collins had him, and Microwave came in town and recommended me as the bass player. And Michael came over to my house. I had my little studio in the basement, sort of like what you have here.
Right.
And we, you know, plugged up,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, it was an audition for me and an audition for him. So we auditioned each other, and I became his musical director. That was just a phenomenal experience. I was already at that time, I had already had my work ethic.
Okay.
So it wasn't really hard to do what it was he was asking or anybody else that followed after him, because in the very beginning I was in a group that it was never good enough.
Mm-hmm.
Never good enough. And we got a call from CBS at that time. That was right around when Frankie Beverly and Mays came out with their first album.
Okay.
And I had a song called All I Need.
Okay.
And we were playing, it was a group called Stag. A brother named Elvis Crumley was his name.
Wow, Elvis.
Elvis.
How can you go wrong with a guy named Elvis?
Yeah, phenomenal writer, phenomenal guy. He, we got together. We were in the military, and they used to have the shows, or not necessarily shows, but places that the military people could come and play and rent the equipment and go on stage and that kind of stuff. And I hooked up with him, and we ended up doing a concert. A&R person was in the audience, saw us, and offered us a contract. But I actually turned down the contract because the guy he kept saying, Walt, please, you know, come on, man. And I said no, because it was never good enough.
Right.
We on our best shows, he still never said, hey, great show, man, good show, you know. And anyway, I ended up coming out. That's where my work ethics came from. And then I got with Microwave. Microwave, we rehearsed all the time, wrote together, sang together, traveled together. Wonderful thing.
What does it make some musicians like that? Like James Brown, he said, you know, he'd be on stage and he'd listen to somebody miss a note and he'll, you know, find them. Like
perfection. You remember Morris Day? I want some perfection.
Right.
Remember, that's real.
Right.
Because again, when you get on stage, the average people, they don't hear the same thing that you do. But when you're having a real good night, you know you had a good night.
Right.
When you had a mediocre night, to you it was mediocre, but to the fans or anybody else that's listening, it was a fabulous night still. So musicians, we're our worst critics.
Right.
But you really, really do have to be that kind of way. And you think about it, when you do a show over and over again, it's the same every night.
Right.
The solo's the same every night. It's something that you worked on.
Right.
But every once in a while, the leader will switch things up completely.
Right.
And you got to be prepared for that. So when you rehearse like that, all it does is make you a perfectionist as well. And it's muscle memory after a certain point. You know, he'll call a song you ain't did in weeks. Right. But you go right to it, man.
I remember seeing it was a documentary I saw. It was about Prince, and he was, this was the, you know, I'm a huge Prince fan. Most people know that.
Big time for me too.
But in this documentary, he was sitting in the audience watching the band. The look on his face was like a look I never seen that. I mean, he was so focused. The intensity in his eyes when he was watching and listening. And later they talked with some of the artists that he had, you know, in his group, and they was like, you know, we have everything what we was lined up for us to play that night, and we might do it that way in one city. Then we go to the next city, and all of a sudden he'll just change it up.
Sure will.
You know, and he said, and you got to be ready.
You a pro.
Yeah, and if you ain't hitting it like you supposed to be hitting it, you ain't coming back.
Nope.
You know, he's like, there's not a lot of second chances with him.
No. There's a thing about funk music and the type of music that I'm best at is I always, when you feel it, there's a pocket. I've been always a pocket bass player. Some of my favorite artists are the Larry Grahams and the Bootsy Collins. I'm just a big fan. Verdine White. I can name some white artists, but what honed me into where I am are the ones that I mentioned. Stanley Clarke.
Oh, Stanley.
You're talking about, a lot of times when you're talking about Stanley Clarke, you're talking about a musician's musician.
Yeah.
Because,
bass extraordinaire.
Right. Absolutely. And he, you as a bass player, I really appreciate it.
He's like a god of bass players.
Absolutely. Victor Wooten is the teacher.
Okay.
He's the teacher.
Okay.
And then of course Nathan East and Marcus Miller, them guys, man, all of them guys are so bad.
Right.
But Victor, even Boots said, "My name is Victor." He's the teacher. Right. And he was one of the ones that he could mimic anybody's style. Jocko. Have you heard of Jocko? With Weather Report.
Okay. Yeah, no.
Jocko.
Okay.
Oh man.
Okay.
Anyway, just hey man, bass.
Yeah, that's
bass.
Yeah, that's the thing that sets the tone for everything.
That's right. And my father used to tell me to. He gave me one of them wooden metronomes, and you know I
that's
could
the thing
wind it up.
The tick thing.
Tick,
I never quite get that. I never did like that.
Well, if you look at the wooden ones, it's a weight on it, and the higher or the lower it is, the lower it is, the faster it ticks. The higher it is, what happens is it goes click, click,
right,
click. Well, that space in between it going click, click is the pocket that I'm talking about.
Okay.
So, that's that pocket.
Right.
And if you looked at the metronome, you would see it doing like that. Okay. But you got to get in between that space.
Wow. Right.
You got to feel that.
Right.
And that's why everything that I play, I got to feel.
Right.
You know, and but I'm just mentioning the metronome because I mentioned earlier that I was hard on drums.
Right, and when you mentioned that, I thought about what came to mind was a documentary I saw about the Rolling Stones. And Mick Jagger was talking about the drummer Charlie Watts. And he talked about that whole metronome thing and about even at Charlie's age today, he's always right
there,
right
man.
there on it. You know?
Right there. Again, you're talking about a metronome, and we're talking old school.
Right.
Some of these things haven't been passed on to some of the artists today.
So, what band you got now that you're playing with?
I'm not playing with. I just did my last gig. I got actually a couple of months, or at least 1 month free. So I'm going back into production for a new album project. But I played with my old group Airwave last Friday at Carlos and Johnny's.
Okay.
I hadn't played with them in 4 years, but you know, muscle memory. Right. Don't get me wrong. I went downstairs and I worked on some of the things that I knew that they would possibly be calling. I'm trying to get my new group together. Called Dynamite Slacks.
Okay.
And again, it's hard though, man. It's hard to get like-minded people together.
Yeah.
That can first of all see the dream.
Right.
The name sounds old because I'm old.
Right.
Older.
Right.
But it's also got a flair to it.
Right. It does.
You can.
You can't put dynamite in anything.
Yeah.
You know.
Dynamite Slacks.
Right.
And means that we could put on any color slacks. We could really.
I like that. I like that. It's real retro kind of vibe.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's my whole point. And you know, but that's what I'm trying to get together.
Now, when you speak of that, you're married.
Yes, sir.
How is it? Because sometimes when you got you better have married girlfriend, whatever, and you're doing this kind of stuff. Because this kind of stuff, we're married to this. This is like
that's my wife.
Yeah, this become like, hey, honey,
you know? This is my other girl. This is my other girl,
right?
And she understands her. She's sometimes. Well, I've been married for 35 years, and I know that's like 35 years.
I'm close to that.
I got a good girl, man. I got a good girl that has always, you know, I don't even know if I can say that the music is what drew her to me, because I don't want to cheat me as a person.
Right.
But I know it had something to do with it, that she was intrigued by how serious I was about the craft. Okay. And the other part is the dedication. You know what I mean? Man, there was times that she would come into the bedroom and I would be asleep on the bed and the bass would be laying across my chest. But again, ain't nothing better than knowing where your man is.
Right.
And if she knows where I'm at, I'm in the basement, I'm in my studio, my office, my man cave.
Right.
That's what all my toys are. And when you know somebody, they haven't left the house, they're in the basement or they're in the office or whatever, at least you know where they are. She's my biggest fan. She and my children. My son is a rapper, as a matter of fact. His name is AC The Entity. Okay. And my daughter is the one that created my album cover. Okay. She was into
talent just all there.
She was into what do you call it? Electronic media at UC and graduated doing film. Same thing. And but they do nothing but support me. My wife still supports me. Okay. And again, she knows where I'm at.
And I was the last guest I had on here, comedian Rob Wilfong. What's up, Rob?
Rob,
your thing is coming up any second. Rob,
I know some Wilfongs. Frank Wilfong, I knew of. That might be his brother.
It could be. They could be related. That Wilfong is kind of Asian. We had a whole discussion about that last night. But anyway, when I was talking with Rob, he was talking the same thing about the wife. Yeah, how the wife was very supportive, and I was telling him about that, how important that is, because I think the worst situation an artist or a talented, creative person could be in that have passion and love for what it is that they do is to be with somebody who don't understand it, who don't support it.
That's called divorce.
Right, it is. Because here's the danger is. The danger is here. If you stay with that, and I don't want to ruin anybody's relationship, but if your dream is to do music, to do film, to act, to sing, whatever, if that's what makes you get up in the morning, if that's what, gets the heart beating, but you with somebody who's not feeling it, who feel as if like it's a waste of time, or I've heard people say, you know what, I'm going to support you on this, but I give you a year for that to happen. I give you a year to get some kind of major deal, some kind of money, so then I can see the benefits of what you do. That is madness.
They don't want to be with me.
Right. That's because I'm saying, like, if you're like trying to do that, trying to do film, trying to do music, trying to do whatever it is, and you got a person over here that's like totally not feeling it, like you said, y'all headed for a divorce. Y'all headed for separation, because an artist, that's what he is.
That's my other woman.
Right.
My bass guitars and what I do musically is my other woman. That's the person that gets, and notice I'm calling it a person, that's the person that gets my time.
Right.
Outside of my relationship with my wife and my children.
Right.
I have to be a father, I have to be a husband, and I'm good at all of those things, but I cannot cheat myself.
Right.
It's what makes me tick. That's what makes me the person I am.
Now, you did the Macy Fest.
I did.
How was that?
A lot of fun. I did footage on that. I chronologically put together footage. I dabble a little bit in video trying, and I just haven't edited it all. But oh man, I've done it a couple of times, so it just meant more to me this time because I had a cousin that died, and his presence, he was with me the whole time. He was with me, and I even shedded some tears. Nobody saw the tears, but. It was heartfelt what took place. And it meant more to me this time than it ever in the past. I played with Mike Martin. I was on bass, and I was the musical director.
Now, hold on. Mike Martin, he sings?
Mike Martin sings. I first did my first show when he was 24 years old, and I was 27 at that time. I was with a brother named Greg Jackson, which was with Zap at the time, and we backed him up at the Serpentine Wall. We backed him up. So I knew he sang already, and then of course I used to play out at his club.
Right.
And he called me and he said, "Hey man, I'm doing this show, and I'm wondering if you could help me out and be my musical director." Oh, come on, Mike.
Right,
Yeah, man, I'm there. You know, so we rehearsed at my house for a total of about 6 or 7 times at my studio, and oh man, it was phenomenal. Mike is a great talent. He knows exactly the perfection of football, just like music. Perfect. He knew where he wanted this song to stop. And because we didn't do any originals, he knew exactly where he wanted this song to start, that one to stop, how much of this song he wanted. And what I did was took it all and put it in Pro Tools, cut up the tracks, and then I was able to Dropbox each one of the musicians ahead of time what the show was going to be. We had exactly 20 minutes. Wow. So we had to put together 20 minutes worth of music. And that's all they wanted.
Well, seeing that you got your other better half here.
Yeah.
Do a little something for us with your other better half. Now that's a 6-string bass versus the 4-string.
Yeah, this is 6 strings, and always need to. You remember?
Oh man, sorry, I'm gonna go slide on y'all on the keyboards.
If you want me to stay, I'll be around today to be available for you to see. But I'm about to go, and then you know, for me to stay here, I've got to be me. You'll never be in doubt, that's what it's all about. You can't take me for granted and smile. There's some place I'm gone, forget reaching the bathroom, because I promise I'll be gone for a while. And when you see me again, I hope that you have been the kind of person you really are now. You got to get it straight. How can I ever be late when you're my woman taking up my time? Oh, how can you ever allow? I guess I wonder how could you get out of pocket for fun? Ow, when you know that you're never number 2. Number 1's gonna be number 1. Oh, I'll be good. Oh, I wish I could get this message over to you now. Oh yeah.
Oh man.
When he used to say, "I'm through now."
Oh man.
And then ended on a.
That was beautiful. I like that.
Oh,
The music
man.
there in the basement show after dark. Oh my man, Walt Coleman killed it. Where can they find you at? Facebook wise, Twitter wise?
Facebook, Walt Coleman on Facebook. Don't have a Twitter account. I ain't quite.
Twitter's like I was telling the last guest other guests we talked with about Twitter. Twitter's kind of different. Just sending out whatever.
One day. Well, soon.
It's cool though. I like the feedback.
And then WaltColeman.com. I got
Coleman.
my own website with some things on there, I guess you could say.
Okay.
Nice. And just 513-351-0175 get you right there
Right
in
there.
touch with me.
Direct.
You know? Direct.
Right.
And hey man, I'm just doing what I do, man.
Well, I'm glad that you're doing what you do. I'm glad that we had you on here doing what you do. Got a little slide stone in there. Y'all saw me.
Oh man.
These are like some of the slide type glasses. You know, I mean, the slide stones. I wish I could have played. I got no rhythm. And when it comes to music, I can't play forks. You know, I have no rhythm. And I love music, but can't play an instrument to save my life.
Well, you do so many other good things, man. You're a film director. We run hand in hand. I need you.
I needed you because he actually, I didn't talk about that, but he played in the short that we did, the little vampire story. Sometimes he good. He played these psychiatrists.
I was the social worker.
This troubled couple that was having issues, and his wife was out on the streets at night sucking blood, and ended up
didn't even know that.
Right.
And you don't know that when you look at the film.
Right.
Did it, and we did the soundtrack.
Yeah, he's doing the soundtrack for Sometimes She Bite. It's coming. I'm working on it. I got a lot of stuff going on, and a lot of stuff going on up here, but it is coming. I'm like focused on that. I'm doing it. It's coming, y'all. I promise. And Walt did the music, and him and
Mike
Johnson. They did, and man, he's got
MJ.
So much talent here in Cincinnati, unbelievable. I'm just glad I had one of those talents here on the show today. I like for y'all to tune in, stay in touch with us, stay in touch with Walt Coleman, keep following him on Facebook. He gave out the number. You need to hit him up. Hit him up. Thank you, Walt, for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank y'all for tuning in on the Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Follow us. I would say MySpace. We're not there. Is MySpace even around anymore?
It is. Still.
Is it? Cool. Stay tuned. Check out the next show. Basement Show After Dark. See you on the next one. We out of here. Peace.
Yes, sir.
That's it.